Well, Afghanistan is a complex issue. I think for the first few years, most people considered it a military problem primarily, and that was the focus. And at least in the early stages, that may have been true, but it's no longer a military problem. It's extremely important that we understand that the Achilles heel of Afghanistan right now is probably more related to drugs and narcotics, judicial reform, adequacy of police, the internal ability of the Karzai government to lead inside the country and to convey a message of hope for the future and direction for the people of Afghanistan. And so while we have 60 countries involved in Afghanistan, 37 of which are contributing troops on the ground, including the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What is different in this new century is that the military alone cannot bring success in Afghanistan. We have to understand that it's the combined aspects of the world economic community, the business world, the political world, all working together that will lift Afghanistan into the right direction. And I'm an optimist that this will happen. You know, there are a number of nations have just a few years ago raised their hands and volunteered to be the lead nation. The UK has volunteered to be the lead nation in the war on narcotics. What we have failed to do, though, is we have failed to get a world community that is addressing this problem. Narcotics is so pervasive in Afghanistan that it accounts for about 50% of the economy. It is corrupting an entire generation of new officials. It provides the economic underpinning for the resurgence of violence, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, the criminal elements, and it touches every aspect of Afghanistan life. We absolutely, under the UK leadership, have to convene a community of nations that will attack this holistically. You cannot take it down all at once. And secondly, there isn't any one recipe. It's eradication. It's buying the crop. It's providing an alternate livelihood for the farmers. It's alternate crop substitution. It's a lot of things. But the biggest mistake is that, in my view, nothing's being done. And so next year, if the poppy production continues to grow, it's because the farmers have no alternatives. But there are exceptions. If you go to Jalalabad in the northeastern corner, here you see a decrease in poppy production and an increase in agriculture. Why? Because we have a good governor, we have good security, we have good irrigation projects, we have the world community helping the local economy get going. So it's that kind of holistic involvement that's needed. Well, I'll be very frank. I think President Karzai and President Musharraf have got to stop pointing fingers at each other and start behaving, in my view, a little bit more statesmanlike. I mean, heads of nations, a serious common problem, certainly seen from two different sides of the question. We understand that. The problem, though, is measurable. I mean, it is either working or it's not. And regardless of where we are, and NATO's ascendancy into Afghanistan is relatively recent, so the partnership with Pakistan is also one that's evolving. But while I was in NATO and I met with the senior military in Pakistan, I listened to all the words, and the words are fine. I mean, if what they say they want to do is actually what's achieved, we'll be fine. However, the evidence shows that that's not happening. And so if by the springtime we see the same problems on the border regions or worse, then I think both Pakistan and Afghanistan should be held to high standards by the international community as saying, and our message should be that this is unacceptable. Well, I think the operational plan 1003.2, I think, is a good plan in that it embraces the military strategy and also some reconstruction, the PRTs and everything else. But there critically needs to be a governing force in Pakistan that fuses all in Afghanistan, that fuses all elements of the effort, and that's what that civilian side is missing. And there's several ways to create it. I don't have the perfect solution, but I only know that it has to be done, because if it's not, then it will be a military problem, because the military will be the only thing that's really working in Afghanistan in doing a little bit of everything. So, but I think the Minister of Defense from the Federal Republic this morning was absolutely right. I am encouraged by the Secretary General, Senator McCain's speech. People are realizing this, and I think some good will come of it.